Whether you're a lifelong keeper or just getting started, help us encourage responsible keeping, conservation, and public education in the interest of keeping our reptiles safe and healthy as we protect them for future generations. You're invited to spend time with us as we experience these awesome animals together on Intrepid Exotics. I knew I forgot something. I forgot to turn my microphone on. How you guys doing? Oh, good to see ya. I need my USARK banner. Look that up there. Outstanding. Cool. I wonder if I need any light. No, I don't think so. My head would be all shiny anyway because I just got back in from filming a video with Tigger a little bit earlier today. And, yeah, you get kind of sweaty and a little shiny. And, God, he kicked my butt. He kicks my butt every time I take him out. Oddly enough, I mean, he's 10 pounds lighter and a foot shorter than Monty, my female retic is. But he is just so much more active. It's kind of funny. God, I don't know, man. I got so much stuff going on. I just lost my train of thought. I love it when that happens. But yeah. Anyway, so I just finished actually this video. I have been recording them on this little crop sensor Canon M50 Mark II, but I decided I don't have the lens, the right size lens for this R5 to really film videos. The smallest one I've got is my 75-300. So I filmed this video with 75-300, and I'm glad I had the live mic on me because I had to put the thing like 50 feet away from me so that everything would be in frame. But looks good. I was hoping to have it out already, but it takes the file size was 3-4 times bigger, so it took like 2 hours to process. So that video will be coming out probably tomorrow while we're at the show, because we were there today. Going to be going back. Let's see. There's that. Okay, I think we're all good there. So how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's been having a good week. It's been very busy here as usual. Even without a day job, I ended up spending it seems like my hours have gotten longer working on snake and photography stuff. So, I mean, hell, it's good. Working on something I enjoy to do. That makes a big difference. See who's on. Kara, hey, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Tara's on. I look forward to these two. Absolutely. Mike, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Erica is with us. Amy, good to see you. I was keeping up with the emerald tree boas, and I haven't watched the follow-up yet. I think you put out a follow-up on what happened. There was a pretty high mortality rate on that clutch, unfortunately. I think she had 1 or 2 that survived. So yeah, that's always tough, but those aren't always easiest to breed. But I think you had a couple of them survive out of there. You'll have to let us know. Yeah, gorgeous snakes, gorgeous setup and stuff. If you guys don't keep up with Amy Benzie, by all means, she's got a YouTube channel and all that stuff. She's got some really awesome enclosures. She's a great keeper, good person to follow. Candy, good to see ya. Hello. Aaron, good to see you. Hello. Yeah, the show was good. We had a show. It was actually a reptile and plant show, oddly enough, down in Charlotte today. So I got a chance to go down and see my buddy Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles. Him and Rob were down there. Rob had a couple of his scrub pythons. He's got some amazing snakes, man. These guys, for those of you guys that don't know them, Rob and Jeremy both worked up at New England Reptile with Kevin McCurley for a long time, and then they both moved down here to North Carolina. So Rob lives an hour one direction of me. Jeremy lives an hour the other direction from me. And they're both really awesome guys. If you don't follow them on Brassman Reptiles, look that up too. They'll do podcasts periodically. They both stay pretty busy because Jeremy's a musician too. Now he's a full-time employee of USARK. Plus he runs his own reptile breeding and stuff like that. So he he's a pretty busy fella. But yeah, it was good to catch up with them today, of course, as always. And Brian Cusco and Dave Kaufman were both down there hanging out in Charlotte. So they came to our part of the world. So it was really cool to see them. And actually, we went down there today, and I just kind of browsed around, get a feel for the place. Tomorrow, when I go back, I'll be doing an interview with Brian. So I don't know when that'll come out, whenever he gets around to putting that out. But yeah, we'll have an interview with him up there as well. So it'll be pretty cool. It was nice to meet those guys finally and see some old friends that we don't have enough time to link up with. So, Erica was saying she loved the video I did on Chloe's story. Yeah, she deserved her own video. She really does. And it's, I don't know, man. We've all got that. I love all my animals. I really do. Especially the ones that I've had a lot longer than her. Just got that connection with them. But there's something about Chloe. She'll come out in a minute too. She's been, as always, all over the place. But there's something about her. Something that's different. And she's just such an awesome animal. So for those of you guys that don't know, Chloe is my little female lavender retic. She's a mainland, so she's going to be a big girl. And although I'm looking forward to her getting bigger, I'm not looking forward to trying to find space here for her. I've really got to go down here pretty quick. I've got to do something about a bigger enclosure for her because she's starting to outgrow this one. She can't be in there another 6 months. I'm going to have to get one bigger for her. So I don't know how I'm going to rework everything. I'm going to rework it somehow. I may end up just putting an enclosure wall to wall in here for her because I really like having her in the office with me. So I think she would be lonely if I put her down in the reptile room with everybody else. So. Nicole, good to see you. Greg and Betty, how you doing? Good to see you guys. Oh yeah, this particular show is down. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yep, it has been a crazy week. Unfortunately, we've gotten a lot of rain here over the last few days, so my time down at the lake has been limited. But man, when I got out there, God, what was it? Yesterday or the day before, for the wildlife photography stuff. You guys may have heard me talk about it before. This is one of the most congested areas of bald eagles in the area. There's supposed to be like 25 nests out there and over 50 birds. So it's, I'll go out there and I'll see a couple bald eagles almost every time I go out there. But, man, the water level was so high in the lake here because all the rain we got. And they had the sluice way all the way opened up and the water is just rushing. It was up 5-6 feet from where it normally is. So that has a little bit of an impact. But, oh, let's see. Oh, man, that's some dedication right there. Mike said he can't miss a live. He's at the hospital with his wife. I really hope everything is okay. That's there's a big difference between being at the hospital for yourself and being at the hospital for somebody else. I could be in there getting ready to lose a leg or something like that, and it wouldn't bother me as much as being in there for somebody else. So I hope I hope it's nothing serious. It was really funny. I think the last time I had to go to the hospital for anything, I turned my ankle really bad. Just could not stand up on it at all. Didn't have any crutches or anything. So I had to call a friend of mine. I was living by myself. I had to call a friend of mine to come pick me up. And I had a folding chair that I had to use as a crutch. So I'm kind of leaning on this folding chair as I'm walking out to the car. So those hospital visits are never fun. Oh, okay. Yeah. Amy says she's got One survivor that's a week old today. That's awesome. It's good that you've got one out of it. That's going to be a special animal. That's one of those animals that you cherish, especially when you're like the lone survivor. Oh, wow. It's a record-breaking gestation for a survivor. That's cool. Yeah, I'll definitely have to get on and check that out. I've, like most people, haven't had a whole lot of time to really catch up on the happenings in the community and so forth. So, Paula, hey, how you doing? Yeah, we talked to Dave. He was standing over there hanging out with Jeremy and Dave, and of course, Brian had his camera out the second he got there, and he's been running around filming everything. But yeah, I don't know how Dave does it, man. He was standing there talking today. He pulled out his phone, opened up his calendar, and showed it. I mean, he is just all over the place constantly. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do that many reptile shows because I like overdose on people really quick. I've got a people sensitivity. I love reptile people and stuff like that, and I love my friends. But man, when there's too many people like that rubbing elbows and all congested, it's like, okay, yeah, I've had enough. Time to go. So, yeah, I don't know how he does it, man. Let's see what else we got. Hey, Benji, how you doing? Yeah, he knows about the space issues. Running low on space for more birds. I had somebody today, and it was so difficult too. I was talking with somebody today who had a red tegu in her purse, and I sat there talking. This tegu is just sitting on my shoulders and hanging out and stuff for like a half hour, and she's like, you could buy it. You could buy him. I'm like, I would love to. However, I need my furniture. I can't sell that to accommodate another animal. Eric said it finally cooled off there. 75 is definitely much better than 105. It is so much nicer out here too, man. Once it gets underneath 80 degrees and you can sit out there and you don't have to cook trying to wipe sweat off and dripping it all over the camera and stuff when you're out there. Oh yeah, I'm sure Arkansas has a lot of bald eagles too. Yeah, I'm really really looking forward to getting some really like National Geographic level bald eagle shots. That's just, and I can't wait till this fall because apparently this fall they're going to be all over the place out there. So we'll have an opportunity too. Oh, let's see. Candy was asking if we do a video on curly tail lizard keeping. There's nothing good online. You have 3 and you just want to do the best for them. Well, I don't keep curly-tailed lizards. That being said, I'm sure I've got a friend or an acquaintance or a fellow content creator somewhere who is intimately familiar with those. So I'm going to make a mental note to ask around, see if I can find somebody that's like a subject matter expert on curly-tail lizards, and we'll see if we can get them on and do like an interview or something, or maybe bring them onto a live stream or something like that with us. So for me to do a video on that particular species, since I don't keep it, I would just have to do a bunch of research, and I don't always like just passing along secondhand information that I haven't actually physically done. So that's just, part of me wanting to, making sure that I'm putting out good information. I definitely wouldn't want to find bad information and pass it along thinking that it's good and do harm somewhere. So, but yeah, we can definitely keep that in the front of our mind and see if we can find a subject matter expert that'll come on and talk about that stuff. Awesome. We got you another follower there, Amy. Oh, yeah, Amy's good people. She's been in on our Patreon Zoom calls. For those of you guys that don't know, for all of the Patreon community, for all our contributing supporters, we do a Zoom meetup after the live streams every Saturday, where we get on Zoom and we'll sit there, gives everybody a chance to show off their animals and ask questions and answer questions and all that other cool stuff. So we got a lot of really cool experienced keepers that come in there. It's really a good time. So, and it really does help us out immensely. So yeah, man, if you guys are, even lowest tiers, anybody, closed off to the free tiers, but every now and then we'll throw it out for everybody. But for all the contributing Patreon supporters, we'll do that Zoom call. So we got Oxy, how you doing? Carla, long time no see. Hope you've been doing okay. And see, Greg's saying they're thinking about getting rid of their big screen TV to make room for a baby rack once the snakes start producing. And that's what happens to us. Or a buddy of mine out in California I was talking with for a while. He kept boas pretty much exclusively and then started asking me about retics. And I warned him. I was like, you can go ahead and get into retics and all that cool stuff. But once you do, I mean, they're like Lay's potato chips. You can't have just one, or Pringles, or whichever one that is. But yeah, now he's got like 3 rooms in his house devoted to his retics. They are addictive. They're really, really awesome to work with. Hey, Travis, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. Here's a pretty common question. Actually, he's having problems with the retic shed and have plenty of moss and substrate that holds humidity, but still isn't having full sheds. Any tips? Nope. Retics have got fairly, comparably to the other snake species that I keep, retics sheds are pretty thin. Like Monty, my 17-foot female down there, she can literally soak in her water bowl for a week straight. And when she finally sheds, it's confetti all over the place. You'll see retics give good sheds every now and then, but I don't ever really hold my breath for it. Every other snake in the house, all the way up to my 12-foot berm, will give me one-piece sheds. My carpet python will. All my other guys, they'll give me nice, especially my jungle carpet. He gives me great sheds all the time. But yeah, my retics, friggin' confetti. But, and something that I don't see everybody doing that I try and do with mine, excuse me, what a day, is I try and give all mine a water receptacle big enough for them to get into completely. So that way there's no question. You do what you can to keep their humidity up, like you say, with the moss substrate. That's really good. That's what I've got in these enclosures back here, half paper and half moss. Keep it sprayed down. But yeah, if they've got a big enough water vessel that they can get into and soak when they want to, that's helpful as well. So today, when you guys start talking about food, I was just sitting here thinking, like 15 minutes before we started tonight, I was like, I'm hungry. I should probably eat something. And I didn't, because we love our Amy here. Yeah, Paula feels me. Not fond of large crowds either. Oh, cool. Carla's been a keeper for many moons. She's got some pretty awesome snakes out there. And apparently all of hers have been breeding a lot lately. You must be playing a lot of Marvin Gaye over there. Oh, yeah. Oh, USA, and she's just worried you might be doing something wrong about the sheds. Yeah, it's Retics are notorious for bad sheds. That's another one too. I've got a boa imperator in there who throws good sheds all the time. So let's see. Oh, cool. Paula was saying she loves the photos. It's awesome. I'm working on getting good at it. It's one of those things where this photography thing has been, it feels like it's been 2 steps forward and a step back, because the more you learn, the more critical you get about what you do. You know, you get those first couple pictures that look really cool and you're like, oh my God, I'm a professional photographer. And then you go out and you sit there from sun up till sundown, and you come home and you start editing stuff and you're like, oh my God, I'm a monkey with a camera. So it's up and down, but yeah, we're going to get there. Definitely going to get there. Let's see. Kenley made it. Outstanding. Good to see ya. Hey, Benji. Know anything about golden and Colombian tegus? Can't find much on them other than they're wild caught, supposedly far less tameable. You like their look more than the other ones. That's one thing you'll find with snakes and lizards and stuff. Some of the more obscure stuff that doesn't come into captivity, it's not bred into captivity as much. Certain morphs and different species may get a bad reputation as well. You know, this particular morph is more defensive or reactive than the other ones. I don't know that it's necessarily because of what color or what species there are. It probably has a lot to do with the fact that they're just not as commonly bred into captivity. And as you increase captive bred generations, they'll start to get more accepting of people, or start to calm down a little bit, be a little bit more manageable. So it's one thing about like the lizard handling, the snake handling and stuff like that. I put out a lot of, for instance, snake videos about tap training and reading behaviors on retics, and people, will come up, they'll be like, well, I got a boa, or well, I've got a hog nose, and what do I do with them? And it's all, the principles all pretty much apply across the board. The only real difference is the consequences for if you make a mistake. Your little hog nose decides to poke you with their nose, it's not a big deal. Your retic decides to strike at you, then you got a little bit bigger problem in your hands. But it's kind of the same thing with lizards. I think for the most part, some lizards are going to be a little touchier than others, but the same handling techniques and stuff like that, the same kind of mentality, it all kind of applies across the board. So. Oh, cool. Awesome. That's great. It's always exciting starting a new job. I keep wondering which one I'm going to end up falling into next. I'm thinking if I play my cards right, I might be able to just really fire up the photography side of things and maybe just start doing that and just avoid the day job altogether. And that will, of course, translate into more time doing this too, but we'll see. But that's cool. Yeah. And we will definitely love to have you on the Patreon for sure. For sure. So yeah, I feel your pain about looking for work now. So Turtle made it. Good to see you. Xander. Yes, haven't seen you in a while. You just got back from an expo. Oh, awesome. Got a jungle carpet. Jungle carpets are cool. Those are awesome snakes. Which expo did you go to, by the way? So, no. Yeah, expos are really bad for impulse buys. I've got a mental block in my head right now. Every time I see something, I'm just like, nope, no space, which is really hard because I seen somebody selling, they had $75 a piece for ornate monitors. It was so, they were little monitors like babies, and it was so hard. But if I had enough space, I would literally have a zoo that would put the local zoo to shame. But let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Benji talking back about Tegus again. Suffer from the Nile monitor problem of being wild caught, cheap imports, and naturally defensive. Yeah, I mean, that's that's probably the case with those Tegus as well. It's Nile monitors are entirely too cheap for what they are, unfortunately. Damn, good to see ya. I always love seeing a little hognose picture come up. Tara, super chat. Thank you so much. She says, hit like. Please support the man. Absolutely. Definitely like the videos. And definitely make sure you get subscribed to the channel too, because I had, like I said, I had my 16-foot male retake out today, sweating my butt off, talking about thinking and exploring behavior, because we've got the series so far. We've talked about feeding and defensiveness and sleeping and all that kind of stuff. And I've got so much stuff out there already on hook training and all that. I didn't focus a whole lot on that, but we did get him outside and just kind of wanted to show. And one of the things that I had in mind too when I was making that video today is that, especially with everything that's been going on, like this joker down in South Carolina that got himself bit, non-snake people, it's kind of funny because the same way we look at somebody like Dingbat, who was, kissing his Gavoon viper and all this other stuff, and think he's crazy. The general public looks at us holding a 16, 17, 20-foot snake, and says we're crazy. So they think the same thing about us, is that we think about the people that do stuff like that. There's some people that'll see us holding a little ball python and they're terrified of it and they call us crazy. So a lot of times when I make these videos, it's in the front of my mind that I want people that don't keep animals, maybe that are afraid of them or something, to maybe, I see Chloe up there. She's going to have to come out in a second. But yeah, I kind of geared towards maybe helping them understand a little bit why we keep them and what it's actually like to work with them. So looking forward to being able to put that one out. So make sure you get subscribed to the channel so that you get a notification when that thing comes out and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of I don't know. That's a legit consideration when people talk about, if they're cheap, then they're just like throwaway animals. Yeah, I mean, jacking the price way up on them, you'll have people that are, more well off and better able to provide for them, possibly. Buying them, people may take it a little bit more seriously. But I've seen celebrities with monitor lizards in enclosures that they should not be in. And these people have got hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, and their poor monitor lizard is in a little friggin' box in their living room. So yes and no. It doesn't guarantee that they're going to be taken care of well. And sometimes just jacking the price up, and just bites into, like for me, we are not rolling in dough here by any stretch of the imagination. So I wanted to get something. The less expensive that animal is, the more money I've got to put into it, build an enclosure and get them set up and all that other stuff. So it's kind of for me, it's kind of a hot and cold take on that. I'm just not big on gatekeeping things. And yeah, it makes some sense to have some kind of cost to entry for people to take it seriously. But even still, that's why we do the videos. That's why we put stuff out there. That's why I put out the video of Niles. Yeah, chomp. It's like, you know, this is an animal you got to take seriously. So don't just buy this little baby hatchling that's really cute, because in a few years you're going to be, you're going to have to take it seriously. So, oh, da, 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 yeah, I've heard the same thing. I haven't kept any ornates, but I have heard that they're a little bit more docile. So, which, of course, which went through my mind too. But yeah, mangrove monitors. See a lot of cheap mangrove monitors. There's a lot of those down at the expo today, and those don't get the love that they deserve. Like when I initially thinned down my herd a while back, I had the Nile and a mangrove monitor, both, and I ended up rehoming the mangrove because I wasn't comfortable rehoming the Nile to anybody. The mangrove's got a better temperament and so forth, and so I ended up rehoming that one because I knew I wasn't going to have enough space for 2 adult monitors like that in the end. So Caesar, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing good. It's still in the 80s in New York. Yeah, it's up and down. It's close to 80 here. It's in the 70s one day and 80s next day, but it is cool enough finally. So yeah, I saw that video actually. I seen it popping up on Facebook where you're hand feeding your boa. More power to you. If you're comfortable doing that, feel free. I'll admit, there's been times where with my boa, but when I do it, I've got ledges and branches and stuff in there, so I don't go like in front of his face. If he's underneath his platform, underneath his heat or something like that, I'll take the rodent and I'll just dangle it, hold it by the tail above the platform so that he hits it this way, and I don't have to worry about him getting my hand. I've gotten too many mistaken food bites like that. Actually, the only time Monty, my 17-foot female retake, ever bit me was when she was smaller. She'd maybe 6-7 feet or something like that. Folded down the door of the enclosure, and I actually had it on tongs. Put the rat out in front of her with the tongs, and she hit that thing so hard she just zoomed right past it and stuck in my chest. So I had to grab her and pull her off. And she came off pretty easy, and I got her head back in there, and she immediately got a hold of the rat and took it, so it didn't stress her out at all. But yeah, I'm very, very adamant most of the time about using tongs and tools. Yeah. Caesar was saying when he was talking about the non-snake people and how geared a lot of the videos towards those folks. People don't realize how many people are killed by cattle, pigs, and horses. Horses are a hell of a lot more dangerous than snakes. I have been hurt. I've been hurt by horses before. I just about got killed by one. So kind of in an abstract sense. I was working on a barn and pulling these old 1950s nails out of this like 2,000-year-old wood. And if you've ever done that, you know, these old spikes are like this long. And I had a button-down shirt on, and I was putting all the old nails in my pocket. And this one horse just kept coming in and trying to push me out of the way and just would not leave me alone. Kept pushing me. So I'd push him out of the way, and he'd come back, and he'd keep harassing me. And I finally got him turned and like put my hand on his hip to push him out of the way. And he come up and kicked me right in the chest as he was leaving. Very clear hoof mark right in the middle of my chest. But I mean, it was right next to that pocket where I had all those nails. So I mean, if I would have had one turned the wrong way and he would have hit it just right, he would have stabbed me in the heart out of it. Fell over. But yeah, I've been drilled by him a couple times. It was really funny, actually, when I was first starting to learn how to ride when I was a kid. One of the first horses that my old instructor put me on was a big Belgian draft horse. And oddly enough, was jumping on this big beast. Yeah, it was only like 2-foot jumps or something. And this was equestrian, so it was in an English saddle. And yeah, the very first time I went over to Cavaletti on that thing, I had it in my mind jump. So when the horse jumped, I kind of jumped in the stirrups a little bit, and he just fired me over his shoulder like a rocket. I don't know how far I flew, but it was a lot, and I hit the ground really hard. And that was the last time I was allowed to use stirrups for like a month. So I had to do all the rest of my jumping practice with no stirrups. No. Oh, yeah, there was a couple of Ichis at the show today, too. Those are really cool. Greg was saying it. Red-eared sliders are like one of the worst mistreated reptiles. No one realizes how big of a space they need to live in. Yeah, turtles get a bad rap. You know, people get them, and because they think they're cute, and then get bored with them because they're turtles. So I think a lot of them probably get neglected. And how old is Niles, and how many years has it been between bites? Niles is 5, maybe 5 or 6, possibly. And he's only really bitten me 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 times, something like that. He hasn't. When he was smaller, it wasn't really that bad. Of course, because they're smaller, and you know, he'd take little nips out of me and stuff like that. But it hasn't been a lot, and it's been 2 to 3 years, I think, since I took that last bite in the neck. And it was really funny you mentioned that too, because I got a message earlier today that I had to kind of laugh at. Somebody directed my attention to a comment in some group that I'm not a member of, so I didn't see it. They was saying, if you're taking 2 bites from a monitor lizard in 2 years, then nobody needs to be listening to you about handling. And I had to laugh a little bit. Actually, I ended up sending the guy a message saying, well, you know, like a person like Tom Crutchfield, not too long ago, just got his arm completely destroyed by a crocodile monitor, and he's considered to be one of the foremost experts on these animals in the world. So maybe you should reevaluate your position. It happens when you work with species like retics, and now you work with big snakes and big lizards. Stuff can happen, and that's just the nature of the beast. That's why I made that video, because especially, you know, you go to these expos and you see people selling Nile monitors for $75. People will get them, and if you already know what you're doing with them, cool, you're good. But I think a lot of people really don't have a lot of experience working with monitors when they get them. So it's really important to know how to manage the bites and know what they look like and all this other stuff, because if you go online and you look up monitor lizard bite, like you seen in that video, you know, you'll see people making a big deal about it and screaming and hollering and all this. And it's just kind of important to sometimes to show, okay, this is what it looks like when it actually happens. You chill out. You don't yell and scream and cry and all this other stuff. You just let it go, ride it out. You know, this is how you control them and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it was maybe 2 years between bites. But see, that time that he bit me in the neck, and just like this time too, when he bit me in the neck, I know what I did. As soon as he got a hold of me, I realized that I'd screwed up, because and it hadn't been too long since I'd changed his enclosure, because of course you upgrade your enclosures as they get bigger. And I had just upgraded his enclosure not long before, and he's really sensitive to his environment. So he doesn't do well with enclosure changes. When I upgraded it this last time, he went nearly a month without eating. Just felt really uncomfortable, out of place. And so he was stressed out. And then right before he bit me, I had just opened up the enclosure. I went in, picked him up. I was going to do something in there and just picked him up, set him on my shoulder. And that was bad. He didn't want to be picked up at that particular moment, and he got a hold of me. So yeah, if you've got an animal that's it's a little bit tricky that you got to be kind of careful with, that's not advisable. But it happens when you get too comfortable with your animal sometimes. And his last bite, just like we talked about in the video, it had been 2 years since the last bite. And ever since then, I'm really vigilant about paying attention to his body language and making sure that I'm not presenting him with the opportunity to bite me. And this time I was like, okay, well, it's been a while. I'm just going to let him do his thing. I'm going to trust him. And I remember looking down and seeing him turn and made a conscious decision. Okay, I'm just going to let him go and see what he does. And he decided to get a hold of me. So, but it was quick. We're getting along just fine again. So he likes it when I feed him, and I like it when he doesn't bite me, and we get along just fine. So, oh, let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, Caesar said he was a farrier assistant when he was young. Seen broken legs, ribs. Horses will jack you up, man. Ask Christopher Reeves. It was a horse took out Superman. It was really interesting because when I first started with horses. I wanted to get into steeplechase. I thought steeplechase was just the coolest thing ever, man. Jumping on there, jumping the hedges, busting ass around the track and all that stuff. And I remember vaguely when I told my riding instructor that, he kind of looked at me and smirked and just ignored me. Like, yeah, dumb kid. And after a couple months of training and stuff, he took me in and he showed me some videos of steeplechase that he was involved in. Showed me, the guy going over the hedge and down into the ditch, and then his horse falling on him, and then another horse getting tripped up, and then another rider, and then another horse all falling on him, and then the stretchers coming out and hauling everybody out. I was like, you know what? 3-day events sound a lot more fun. So I opted not to train for that anymore. So Paula says she really wants a super dwarf retic, but you don't have the room. You're renting. I just have a hoggy right now and getting a retic fix by watching the channel. We got a really good retic fix for you coming as soon as I can get this video out. And take her outside raising hell. Yeah, I mean, see, and stuff like that too, man. I mean, that's a respectable position, because when most people think super dwarf, you think, okay, well, it's going to be a really tiny snake and stuff like that. Not necessarily all the time. You can be looking at super dwarf locality retics that are getting 12, 14 feet. So then you got to pay particular attention to breeders too. Make sure you can get information out of them. We had a Gary out of Constricted and Addicted. A lot of you guys was in that, actually. We did a roundtable talking about this very topic. And if you go to Gary's channel, it's Constricted and Addicted. It's a retic roundtable, I think is what he was talking about, retic rant, something like that. And it was myself and Nicole Tisdale from Lady Tis Exotics, who's another reticulated python keeper, Chris McVicker, Lucas Bagnera, and Gary and myself, all kind of talking about these, and locality retic super dwarfs kind of came up. And really, I think the big takeaway from that regarding the super dwarfs is that it's really turned into a marketing term. It started out as a description of the localities. You get a certain percentage of pure locality retic, and you're a super dwarf. You get between that and another percentage, you're talking dwarf. And anything above that, there's no guarantees because it's got too much mainland blood in it. And it's a toss-up. Probably going to be a big snake. And super dwarf and dwarf kind of turned into a marketing term where people, they throw that word around a lot of times, just cash in on it. So you got to make sure that if you are looking into locality retics, you're going to some reputable folks to get them, because it's real easy for somebody to pass off a mainland and get a couple grand more off of you, and then you end up with a 16, 18-foot snake going, damn. I mean, in my case, I wouldn't bother me, because the bigger a snake is, the happier I am. But I love working with the big animals. But they're not for everybody. So, and Benji was talking about the video photos I posted of the Cotamundi. Yeah, that Cotamundi in the pictures is really sweet. Just like all of them. I mean, it's the same thing with my prairie dogs, man. Got a male and a female prairie dog. The male, sweetest furry potato you ever met in your life. The female used to be the sweetest furry potato you ever met in your life, until all of a sudden, for some reason, she figured out that she likes the way it feels when she bites the hell out of me. Because just for out of the blue, for no reason, she would start. I'd pick her up and she'd be fine for 15, 30 seconds, whatever, a couple minutes, sitting out, petting her, holding her. Last time I did that, she was perfectly fine. I put her back into the enclosure, and as she's going in, she sinks both her teeth through my arm, brings her teeth together through my skin, and I kind of push her into the enclosure, and she just flops over, and she's hung on here, and I'm trying to pull her off, and she's in there. Mammals, I'd rather get bitten by a snake than a rodent or a mammal any day of the week. Oh yeah, Amy was talking. I must be getting pretty far behind on the chats, because I was talking about her hand feeding her boa, and that is where I saw it. Yeah, I've been bitten by some kittens. It really sucked. I had one of them. I was trying to pull a kitten out of a bush one time, and I got a hold of it, and it ended up sinking its teeth right into the friggin' meat between my thumb and first finger. It hurt. Them little needles are rough. And Carla was saying she had her two big coastals out in the front yard, and they locked up right in the yard. What exhibitionists they are. You do have some gorgeous carpets, though. Those coastals are beautiful snakes, for sure. Jar Jar, what's up? You were saying, brother, you rode horses bareback with shorts on. Yeah, I was helping an ex-girlfriend's father who kept some horses, and I would ride one of them around all the time just to kind of help calm him down a little bit. He was a little rowdy, and it always made me really nervous because it was a cool little area that they had, house and barns and all that other stuff. But the thing is that the barns had these tin roofs on them with no awnings, and it was the tin just came right off the side, and it was just the edges of it, and it was right at neck level when he was on horseback. So it was kind of unnerving a couple times. And this horse would start getting squirrely. And a lot of times they'll like to push you into things like buildings. And there's a couple times where he just start pushing towards the building, and you just see the edge of that aluminum awning coming towards your neck. And I'm, leaning off the side of the horse practically, trying to keep from getting my head cut off. They are, you really got to be careful. More people are killed by deer than by sharks. I can believe that, especially if you count the vehicle accidents, motorcycle accidents specifically. That's a really dangerous thing, especially in the fall for bikers. Always used to pucker me up when I was riding my motorcycle at night, fall, because we've had a couple people die out here from deer strikes on their bike. And you know what's interesting fact too? Before I moved down to Florida some years ago, I lived down there for a little while. It just happened to coincide with the time that there was a whole lot of shark attacks out there. And so I started doing some research on shark attack statistics, and I found out that more people are killed by falling coconuts than are killed by sharks. So that put my mind at ease a little bit. That's something I had never thought of before. But I mean, really, think about it. I mean, coconut trees are tall, coconuts are heavy. It's like having a bowling ball fall out of your head. So yeah, I guess I could see that. Oh, outstanding. Yeah, this is back in reference to the Joker who was talking about the monitor lizard thing. Yeah, I'd sent that one fella a message, kind of reminding him that, any of us that, go ahead and name anybody that's been keeping any kind of tricky reptile for any length of time. We've all been bit. Happens to the best of us, happens to the worst of us more often. It is what it is. You're going to get bit at some point, especially when you're making a conscious decision to do something a little bit different, kind of giving an animal a chance that you think may not deserve one. It happens. But yeah, oddly enough, I'd looked up, and I'm not going to go into any names because I don't like doing that. But I looked up that guy's page, and I seen him reference in another post somebody that I know who I no longer associate with because for reasons, for good reasons. So you got to consider the source on some of that stuff. Oh, that's cool. You must be talking about Tom Crutchfield. Yeah, Tom seems like a pretty good guy, and I like his approach to his animals. I really do. He's got a really respectful approach to them, and that's really important. So, oh yeah. It was really funny because I was down talking with Jeremy today, and he was talking about, he's like, I didn't show you when I got bit in the face here not too long ago. He pulls up a picture, man. He's just bleeding all over the place where he was, I don't know if he was feeding or he was getting ready to move or clean or checking water or something like that I think he was checking water before he left, and just seeing it coming, and he ended up getting nailed. But yeah, it's par for the course. It happens. You can't let stuff like that get to you. I do appreciate you going to bat, of course. That's cool. But yeah, that's anytime you put out as many videos as I do, there's going to be people that disagree for one reason or another. I kind of blow it off most of the time, but yep. Oh, Xander, you must have been down at the Charlotte show. Met Dave. Yeah, I was down at the Charlotte show. I was there till maybe 1-ish o'clock, something like that. And I'll be going back in the morning too, so we'll be out there tomorrow as well. So. But I got back, left there a little bit early because I wanted to get this video out today, which is actually going to be tomorrow now because of how long it took for everything to process. But yeah, I did meet a couple people down there today, and it's still kind of weird because I don't really do enough stuff in the reptile community, like these expos and things like that. So typically, I'm used to nobody knowing who I am. And now going to the reptile expos it's actually just pretty common today. I had 3 or 4 people come up and say, "Hey man, how you doing? I watch your stuff." So that's kind of cool. But it's still weird for me when people I don't know just walk up and say, "Hey Tim." It's like, what do you want? It's like, oh yeah, that's right. I do the YouTube thing. Yeah, Tara was saying, I don't know. It really looks like I'm figuring out how to work the algorithm for views. Well, you know what? You got to do it. And, and that's one of the things too. You'll get people criticizing you, say, "Oh, you're just doing this for views." Well, I look at it like this, and this is the way just about everybody else, any other creator out there, and any instructional stuff about creation, about creating videos and things, is you look for what's trending. You look for what's going on, what's pertinent, what are people searching for, and you can't grow a channel if you don't, address those things in some way, shape, or form, just to get out there and get your name out there and stuff like that. And if you've got a good, rational, reasonable take on it, then there is nothing wrong with, if there's a current event that's getting a lot of attention, talk about it. It's a free platform. We can talk about whatever we want. And if you've got a reasonable take on it, then by all means. Somebody says you're just doing it for views. Well, maybe I would rather made a video about handling retics or something like that and made that video for views. But you know what? It grew the community. Got some good attention out of it. Got some subs, some people that liked what I had to say about it. So we've got a bigger community now because of it. And we can help more people. So it all works for me. That's what we do, is we try and, get attention, get our name out there. And if we don't, we just disappear into obscurity, and we can't do this stuff all the time. So it is what it is. I know all my sensationalist uploads, terrible like that. Profile shows his name is Rick. It must be one of those profiles that was set up a long time ago or something like that. But there is some weirdness going on. I've got, God, what was it? It's been so long since I've looked at it. I think it was a gaming profile from a long time ago. I think it was on Steam or something like that. But I made it, and for some reason, it gave me some really goofy name that I had no part in doing. So, Caesar was talking about, he knows people have purchased larger snake species for their teenager, young kid, never given any consideration to what they will do when a snake is fully grown. I think I've got a couple snakes here that are victims of that mentality. I know one of them, Monty, my female retic, when I got her, she was living in a glass top-loading aquarium. And I think somebody had realized that just maybe a retic wasn't the right one for them. I'm really glad that I got her, because she's just been the sweetest animal ever. Hey, Danita made it. Good to see ya. And here I go, getting all far behind again. Oh, Nicole's got to go. Hope you get to feeling better. Absolutely. Drinks water. That was our mantra in the Army. Drink water. Gator was asking if Sulawesi's or retics are a bigger species. Something I heard, but not sure. Now, Sulas they're a locality. They're not a different species. They're still reticulated pythons, but Sulas are known for getting a little bit bigger. So, yep. You like the furry potato? That's what they are. And she's talking about the reference I made to the prairie dog being a furry potato. And the male is so cute. He's a little furry potato with eyes. The female is just a furry, hate-filled potato with big teeth. So, let's see. Any advice for new jungle carpet python owner? She's just over a year old and still a bit small. Carpet pythons like to climb. I've got my carpet downstairs in an enclosure, much like Chloe's here, where he's got some branches that are secured in there, so he can get in there and climb around all over the place. So if you give them vertical space, they'll take it. Otherwise, jungles are really, pretty easy. Can't really think of anything special or specific to them. They wouldn't apply to any other snake for the most part. So if anybody does know of anything different that I may not know about, by all means, drop it down in the comments. But yeah, and it's going back to the retic genetics and size and stuff like that. Here I was saying animals, even with the same genetics, have different results. He's got 2 sons, 2 males. One's 5'6" and the other one's 6'2", same parents, different sizes. So yeah, there's always curveballs to be thrown in there. It's just like with people, you may be 5'2" and you may have a sibling that's 6'4". So Yannick, hello. How you doing? Sounds like you're all over the place. I guess your Facebook page, Nature Savage, says people like the videos in Canada, France, Belgium, and Germany. That's one thing that I need to do is I need to start putting some text in there, getting the videos translated into different languages. That would probably help out too. Yeah, Paula's got a good point. She's saying she'd go to Reach Out Reptiles if you're looking for a locality. I would keep an eye on Garrett's page too. Reach Out Reptiles. Dave was saying today that him and Garrett are going to be going on a trip to the Locality Islands. So that should be a really good video after they get back and get all that stuff put together, where they go to the actual islands that all these localities come from. It's a great thing for Garrett to do because, of course, locality retics is his specialty. So I can't wait to see how that goes. That'll be really cool. Yeah. Hey, we Mutter made it. Are more people struck by lightning than shark attacks? I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it. A lot more opportunity to be struck by lightning than there is to be attacked by a shark. Yeah, they really do. Then they can, they can shift it over and maybe bring back the 1,000 Ways to Die series that used to be on. I don't know if that's still on anymore, but Yeah, Tara said he was talking about that guy that had something to say about the monitor lizard to come join the live. And that's cool. Now, I would much rather somebody has a question about something. That's one of the things that you'll see. I get this in the comments on the videos sometimes where you can tell that somebody is responding only to the thumbnail, that they didn't take any time at all to watch the video or listen to the content or understand what's being said. They see the thumbnail and they're going like, look at this opportunistic prick taking advantage of a bite. Well, yeah, if you just look at a thumbnail, that might come across like that, but there's always a deeper meaning to it. There's always a deeper context. Just like we was talking about this today, Jeremy and I was having a nice long conversation about this whole thing with Bonehead down there. And in response to the people that say, don't give it more attention, don't give them any more press, they're just going to see this and everybody's going to want to ban it. Well, even if I put out a video on this Jeff guy, the Taipan guy, I get 25,000 views on it. How many people see the local news? And the local news is going to put a much harsher spin on it than we are, for one. Second, if something happens like this and it gets out, it hits the news, it hits the media, people look at him and they're like, oh my God, what a dumbass, people shouldn't be able to have these animals. If everything is crickets from the entire reptile community and nobody's saying anything about it, then by default, we all look the same. It's not like you can brush something under the rug when it's on the 5 o'clock news and everybody's like, oh my God, most venomous snake in the world almost killed somebody. You can't hide it at that point. It's out there. And like I said, if the general public sees something like that and they hear crickets from everybody else, we fall into the same category that they do. But if somebody hears about that and you don't keep any snakes at all, you're terrified of them, and you hear about it, you might want to learn more about it. So you start looking at inland taipan bite, dumbass almost dies. And you start pulling up videos and you see one person after another in the reptile community putting out videos on it, talking about, how toxic the person is, how the person is as toxic as the venom that almost killed him and how dumb it was for him to do that, then it doesn't do anything except show solidarity between us and an acknowledgement that, when you do dumb things, the whole reptile community isn't doing dumb things. We're not all behind this person. So, if somebody comes up to me on the street and sees that I keep snakes, they say, oh yeah, did you hear about the guy that almost died in South Carolina? And I go, yeah, what a dumbass. And they're like, yeah, what a dumbass. We're in agreement. There's no argument. We're on the same side, and then I can go into explaining to them saying, okay, well, the reason why he got bit is because he was doing things that are just not recommended practices. Everybody can understand that there's bad apples in every bunch. So it's not something, when something bad happens, the only harm that comes from talking about it is if you're not saying the right things. If you go out and you start making videos defending somebody, or you start, fighting with somebody who's saying that, this guy's a dumbass, nobody should be able to keep these, kind of the way you approach that is you go, well, yeah, we understand that, but please understand that the rest of the reptile community doesn't think that he should have had these anyway because of the way he was acting with them. Not all of us are like that. So there's something to be said for that. I'm not going to shy away from, once something hits the news, we've all got to be talking sense. We all got to be on the same side. And, the general public is going to respect that a lot more than if everybody just kind of goes, I didn't see nothing, then they're going to feel like they've got to do something to keep themselves safe. Whereas if the whole rest of the reptile community is going, okay, we got to do something about this. It just makes us feel like we're on the same side, because in reality, we really are. So, let's see. I know I'm missing stuff already. Don Gallagher, good to see ya from DNA. Amy was saying she's been down there with Tom Crutchfield and his animals. Yeah, Tom has got a really cool relationship with his animals, and I really like his approach. Yeah, Amy was saying she just took a bite in the neck and the face from a 6.5 foot basin. I think he was talking about that on the last Zoom call, actually, where you took that shot. Oh, yeah, Tom is really good for that. He will always be the first person to tell anyone with passion that reptiles are not stupid. And they certainly are not. Oh, one more. What size enclosure do you recommend for an adult black dragon? I've got, that's probably going to get a little bit bigger. I mean, depending on, genetics, stuff like that. It may get bigger than my Nile monitor. Right now, I've got pretty much a minimalistic enclosure for my Nile. And what that enclosure consists of is I've got a full-size bathtub in there, and it's plumbed to a floor drain that I keep cleaned out and filled up for him. I've got a basking platform in there, and it's 8 feet by 8 feet by 6 foot high. And that's kind of minimalist for him. Whenever I do manage to get moved, I'm going to expand and give him a little bit more space. But if you get a monitor lizard, especially anything that's going to get bigger than Niles, you're looking at maybe 12 by 8, something like that. You really need to give them enough space to move around, because I've seen a guy out here locally had a water monitor, really big one, that he kept in a really tiny enclosure in his little wannabe zoo out here. And it ended up, I guess, getting impacted and dying because it really couldn't move. And it was one of them places where you'd go, you got to be careful sometimes, because you see some pretty nasty things. But neither here nor there. The size enclosures, you can grow the enclosures with the animal. But the two things that I really recommend doing is having some kind of stone or rock underneath their heating elements, so that it's always constantly warm right there. So it'll be a lot better for them to bask. They'll get the heat from the bottom and the heat from the top when they bask after eating and stuff. And then give them a water feature in there big enough for them to completely immerse themselves in. If you've got enough room to where you can give them something where they can swim around in, that's cool. Like Niles, he even with all the space he's got and the substrate and all that stuff, he sleeps in the tub. He's slept in his water ever since he was a baby. So every night about 8, 9 o'clock, I'll go in there, and all I see is his little nose sticking up out of the water. And then every morning about the same time, he wakes back up and crawls out of his water up onto his basking spot. So, but you do got to make sure you give him enough room to move around, enough water to really enjoy. So, hey, Alex, not doing too bad, man. Hope you are. Let's see. Am I going to Animal Con or Tinley? Probably not. Animal Con, I think that's like invite only. So I don't know that I'm up to that level yet. I need to be up there. But Tinley, yeah, that's quite a drive. And it's going to be a little while. I've got entirely too much stuff to take care of here at home. Charlotte, I could make that one. That's an hour away. Piece of cake. But yeah, I probably won't be doing those. Yeah, she was asking if you'd seen Lilith. Yeah, Lilith is a sweet girl. She actually, Lilith actually nailed me. Speaking of getting bit, For those of you guys that don't know, Lilith is a jagpondro. She's half jungle, half jaguar, carpet python, and a green tree python hybrid. And she's got some neurological issues. And she's really a sweet girl. And I made the mistake of like reaching in on her the other day while we was on the Zoom call. And everybody's just in there chatting away, and I was going to get Lilith out and let her see it. And yeah, she nailed me right in the hand. I had to pull away for a second. I'm bleeding all over my foot. Yeah, it's real easy to make mistakes sometimes. Oh, yeah, I was thinking that earlier that I needed to get Chloe out and have a co-host, but at this point we're getting pretty close to Zoom call time. So, as a matter of fact, I just now remembered I was planning on bringing my albino Burmese python up here, Apollo, a little 12-footer from downstairs. But I will do my best to remember to do that next week and just have him up here with me the whole time. So, I was trying to find a spelling of my last name. Okay. I thought I had it on there. Couldn't find it anywhere on I don't know. Thought I had it on there. But like, I don't even hardly use my personal Facebook page anymore. Anything that I do on Facebook is all Intrepid, animal, photography related and stuff like that. Let's see. Hey, what do I think of people handling snakes in the wild? I think you need to make sure that you're really good at species identification before you try handling snakes in the wild. First and foremost, if you know what you're picking up, cool. I've seen, actually Rob Christian put out a video last year where he had walked up to a water snake and had approached it just right, walked right up to it, put his hand like right underneath it, picked him right up. You can handle wild snakes sometimes, but as far as chasing them around and stuff like that, I mean, you're just stressing them out at that point. But with the wild animals, just like anything else, man, you want to make sure that you're not going to get hurt. You want to make sure you're not going to hurt the animal. You don't want to displace them. If the snake's over here, you don't want to be picking them up and then dragging them 2 miles down the road and letting them go someplace else. Just got to be careful with it. Like I said, the main thing is just to know you don't want to be picking up picking up something thinking it's a water snake and it's copperhead and you get a problem. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Oh, cool. Kara says she's getting ready to go up to a reptile and aquarium show. I do miss my aquariums. At some point, I'll get back into the marine aquariums. I used to keep mimic octopus. I would like to get a bigger Pacific octopus. Those things are so cool to interact with. So, yeah, that's a really good example. Greg was saying, this is back when we was talking about the Sulawesi's. I do remember seeing Wes in Utah, wildfire retics, just like Greg was saying. He's got some of them that are really, really big. 20 footers, well over 100 pounds. He has got some gorgeous animals. So if you want to see some really cool retics, then wildfire retics is a good place to go to, because he's got some really good ones. Man, I am so far behind on all of the comments. I'm just going to flip through these things really quick because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, da-da-da-da-da. Hey, hey, man. Hope you are doing well. Aaron Rock, good to see you. Aaron was on the show for a little while. He lives out in Texas, and he has got some pretty amazing snakes too. And he's a really good spokesman for our reptiles. He likes to, the local pub that he goes to, all know him for his false water cobras, hanging out with him and stuff like that. Yeah, I think he's done the reptile community a great service by just including them in that environment down there. So even the people that aren't snake people all appreciate it. So yeah, it's good to see you, man. Oh, Let me get to the end. Where are we at? I know this is the part where when I'm trying to catch up on comments, you guys all just get to sit here and watch me do my best to speed read. Videos back here, all of that, guys. Yeah, going back to this taipan bite. Yeah, John from Tipping Scales did a couple videos on it where he just kind of put the guys just videos that he made out there for everybody to see. John's really good at making sure you get the right information right out of a horse's mouth. I wasn't going to invest that much time in it. My big point, really the big point that I was wanting to make with the when I addressed the taipan bite was that we've just got to figure out a way to get better at really impacting people when we see them doing something harmful, because this guy has been, like I said, he's a toxic person to begin with, doing dangerous things with the animals, and everybody has said something to him about it. Trying to tell him, dude, at least stop putting this stuff out there on video because you look like a fool. And as a community, we've got to have some way to impact that. Everybody's got their friends that are going to stick with them and things like that and defend them regardless of who they are. But, that was kind of the point of it. And like I said, plus to get it out there so that if anybody does happen across that video, they're able to look at it and go, okay, well, this guy's kind of an oddball and he's not the norm, and the rest of the reptile community is calling him out. So, maybe all snake keepers aren't crazy and stupid. So we've really got to do whatever we can to counteract bad press when it happens. We can't just sit back and ignore it, because there's got to be a balance. If all you see is bad press, and nobody in the reptile community says anything about it, it's going to pile up, and USARK is going to be sending out alerts saying, okay, 5 states want to ban everything because you guys are all irresponsible and all that. And we don't want that. As a general rule, most people in the reptile community are responsible. They want to learn about their animals. They want to be good to them, want to have a good life with them and all that other stuff. They want to be safe. And that's what we need to really put forward into the public with people that don't deal with these guys. No, not Jeremy Moore. Jeremy Turgeon, Brassman Reptiles. Used to be the ops guy out at Nerd for a while, and then he moved down here close to Charlotte. Yeah, speaking of the, I was just talking about you, John. We was talking about the taipan videos. Good to see you, sir. Pictures you take. My Intrepid Exotics profile, looking for the pictures I take. I've got intrepidexotics.com. If you go to the website, I've got the wildlife photography tab there, and I've got a bunch of like my keepers on there. So as I go through this whole photography thing, I've got the website now, and I'm going to be adding kind of a portfolio on there. So as we go, I'll be updating that and putting new pictures on there, and then kind of figuring out which ones I'm going to send to print, which ones I'm going to sell. And I'm probably going to start doing my best to start getting some decent reptile pictures as well, and going out to expos and stuff, and maybe selling prints down there as well, so which will be cool. But yeah, it's best place to see all that stuff at intrepidexotics.com/wildlife. So, let me get to the end. God, I'm so far behind. Hey, Bert, you made it. You made it just in time for me to get ready for the Zoom call here in a second. And for those of you guys, before everybody bails off, just so you know, after our live streams, which these live streams used to go on for 3 hours sometimes, but since then we do the Zoom meetup calls now after the live streams. Typically starts between 8:30 and 8:45 Eastern time, because I'll typically take a little break and go get more coffee and stuff like that. But for all the contributing Patreon members, any tier of contribution, I send out a link to everybody for the Zoom meetup, and we just get on there and talk animal stuff and whatever else comes up. So that is where we all hang out after the live stream. So if you guys want to jump on the Patreon, by all means. And of course, too, for all you guys that are already on there, if you've got any other ideas about things that you'd like to see me put on there or add and stuff like that, by all means, let me know, and I'll do my best to facilitate that stuff. Just trying to, show some more appreciation for the Patreon folks, man. It really does make a huge difference. It really does. So. Anybody have any more? Yeah, I guess the feud between Bob Clark and Morph Market is over. I don't know. I thought I saw a video about that sometime back, but I thought they had kissed and made up. Oh, so I skipped the question. She was asking if I was going to send Lilith to you. I'm afraid I can't do that. Lilith is my special needs baby. She has a special place in my heart, and she's bitten me. So there's like a blood bond there now. Oh, let's see. I think man, I made it all the way down to the end. Look at that. Look at me go. All right, guys. So we are hitting our end time now. I'm getting ready to go take a break and grab more coffee. And we're getting ready to move into the Zoom call, which I'll get started here in just a second. So news. Actually, man, I forgot too. I forgot to talk about USARK this time. So I've got to do that real quick. If you guys are not familiar with USARK, go to usark.org. It is the absolute most useful resource that the reptile community has for fighting bad legislation and laws and bans and restrictions and all that stuff. Please, if you've got any questions about it, feel free to message me. I'll be happy to answer them. I'll be happy to send you any information that you need on it. But we are always recruiting members. We need to get the membership numbers up. Always doing fundraising. This is one of those places where you go to the big reptile expos and they're raising, $40,000-$50,000 at a pop at these auctions for USARK, because they've got to pay lawyers and lobbyists all to pay attention for us and to fight for us and to give us the information that we need in order to defend ourselves from getting our animals banned. Very important. Like I said, if you guys have any questions at all about USARK, by all means, hit me up and I will help direct you to the right place, answer any questions I can. And tomorrow I will be, I don't know, it'll be in the morning sometime. I'll set this video to publish in the morning, I guess. But we'll have the other episode in the snake behavior coming out tomorrow, where I've got my 16-foot male retic outside talking about thinking mode and how important it is to get them into that state. And that's how we want to work with them. And just to kind of show folks too that aren't familiar with reptiles, you know, this is how we actually work with our animals, the big scary ones and all that stuff. Yeah, we keep them like this, and really just trying to show folks that, you know, these guys can be pretty easy. They're not as dangerous as some people may have you led to believe. So you guys have a great night, and we will see you all tomorrow on the new video, and then next week on the live stream. So take care, be safe, have a good weekend, and we'll see you soon. And we'll see all the Patreon folks on Zoom in a minute. You guys have a good one.